yɛdan ɔmangana uyo nyame a ɔmangana ne yɛdan ɛnɛ ɛdɔbɔ ade ase so wabu yɛn wama yɛn nkwa yɛbɛtena ase yɛbɛdwen ɔmɛn ho ɛyɛ yɛn adesrɛde sɛ nea yɛbɛdwen ho no yɛde bɛkɔ adwumi no mu yie na yɛde ayɛ adwuma yɛde aboa yɛ man obi a womfa wafiri nto angel no fa to wɔsesi a na yɛn waso na tie nsɛm a bɛboa yɛn ɛnɛ yɛn kasa ho a yɛdi no yɛn nsɛm yɛ ahorow abiɛsa ɛne den nurses strike Akando's baptism of fire nurse for midwives for wɔn ato atia ɛne den wɔsi wɔn collective bargaining condition of service abang de nsa ahyɛ nwoma ase nso ɔmpɛ sɛ ɔde yɛ adwuma saa nsɛm yi ɛkɔ so abang nnwuma ahorow ɛwɔ Ghana ha nyinaa mu na biribia no abang de nsa kɔhyɛ biribia ase a edu brɛ te sɛ ɔde yɛ adwuma na yɛ biribi foforo ɛnu nti nɛ nurse fo na edu wɔn so na yɛrehwɛ ne abang bɛyɛ afa saa di ho ɛba ne saa ɛyɛ ahometew wɔn a wɔyare wɔkɔ hospital a obi ahwɛ wɔn anim wɔn a wɔyɛ nurse fo wɔn so ya nea wɔhwɛ wɔn sankan yɛ yɛn a yɛhwɛ ne ɛkɔ so yɛn so yɛtete na so nkwantan ɛne he ne mpanimfo a yɛn sa aka wɔn wɔbɛba bɛkyerɛkyerɛ mu na wɔde yɛn afɔ kwampa no so asɛm a ɛto so abien OSP Ofurata in legal football match wohwɛ yɛn owura Ofurata bɛyɛ nansɛm ɔde n'aban gui a ofi aban mu no special prosecutor ato nsa afrɛ no ɛnu akyi nkɔmmɔ ahorow akɔso ɛbɛdu mpɛmpɛnso a ɛnɛ wɔn declare no ama Interpol sɛ baabi a ɔwɔ no obi atene nka a ɔmo Interpol amaneɛ na wɔnsanka no saa nkɔmmɔ yi yɛfi he ne yɛkɔdu he den na ɛwɔ mu a ɛte sɛ ɔmanfo hu den na yɛnte ase wɔ mu den na yɛn ahu a yɛdi yɛn di akyi nsɛm bɛnkora na wogyina so no wɔreka saa nsɛm yi nea yɛ dɛ na yɛ nigye na yɛakɔnɔ ne sɛ yɛwɔ lɔyafo a akuku dam a wɔn abɛn wɔ saa nsɛm mu ɛnna wɔbɛfi ntasupa bi ato yɛn anum na nigye bɛba yɛbɛhu sɛ nea ɛkɔ na yɛn nso yɛn adi akyi nea ɛto so abiɛsa ɛyɛ galamsey latest on galamsey a test of Ghana's defense capabilities wohwɛ galamsey a atua tese ayɛ kontonkurodu a ɛsɛn amansanko mu a na ɛyɛ ahometo galamsey ka ho bebree na owura Kufuado abang ɛyɛ MPP a owura Bawumia bɛda no wɔhwere tumi ɛka ho paa ɛsane sɛ galamsey ɛsɛe ade ɛsɛe nsase ɛsɛe nsu ɛsɛe kwae ɛsɛe nkwa na ɛsɛe biribia ɛnu nti Ghana fo de yɛnan asi hɔ NGO TV sɛ yɛbɛhwɛ na galamsey yɛtuase koraa yɛtuase na ne yɛbɛtwa na atwa na ade nkɔkye na yɛmɛhwɛ a afei de galamsey na yɛkutiae no ɛwɔ wura Kufuado brɛ so a yɛgye tu mu sɛ onyame nkyade a na aban bi a yɛbɛnya no ɛyɛ MPP o NDC o wɔbɛba bɛhyɛ mu kana ɛsane sɛ nipa kasa wɔ ho afei de nnɛ ɛkama yɛ sɛ mpampa gu afu so yɛhu ni ayɛyɛ ɔko no yɛre kwana anaasɛ agoro bi mpanimfo atu sa sɛ wɔkɔ akɔhwɛ wɔ Asante man mu baabi galamsey nneɛma ɛkɔ so edu baabi na nipa bi nya akora nko wɔn ato ahyɛ wɔn so amma wɔn ho kwan amma sa mpanimfo no wɔn anya nea ɛte sɛ wɔyɛ ne so galamsey ɔkwan yɛbɛtumi ana yɛwɔ ho akɔde ana yɛn ani ne yɛbu egu so anaasɛ ɛyɛ ɔboapayɔ ɛnɛ saa nsɛm yi ɛna mpanimfo a mensa aka wɔn wabɛboa yɛn na yɛn adi ne yie mpanimfo a mensa aka wɔn no ɔbaako ne owura Isaac Boama Nyako ɔyɛ lawyer ni mapa na ɔsan so yɛ MP Afia constituency Western region nea ɔkan wo yɛ Isaac Minta Labi ɔyɛ lawyer ni na ɔyɛ NDC ni mapa afei Dr. David Tenkuran Chum ɔyɛ General Secretary wɔ JR Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association na Alexander Akwesi Akwa ɔyɛ MP Achimodan constituency Dr. Mark Kett Nawani ɔyɛ MP Nabdam na san so yɛ chairman Parliament Health Committee ni odi ho ɔyɛ lawyer Yaw Sompa ɔyɛ lawyer ni anankasa awɔ ni chambers a wɔfrɛ no Sompa and Partners ni odi ho bio yowura Jonathan Esare ɔyɛ lawyer ni na ɔyɛ lead editor the law platform ni odi ho yɛ ewura Elizabeth Aluava ɔyɛ civil society organization member na ni group oda no ye Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group na ono nso yensa bekan yen panimfu yi na ne onyankopon ayi won amayen se womra no mabua yen na womoya yen na adwumadi no nkoso fefefe enu nti mesre wo se wafiri no enna Angel afato ho ko Facebook na kwobua wo ho na hwedwumadi ekoso yen radio a ewo omenya fa na nyinara ma wani nkɔ hɔ na wobɛte nsɛmpa me gedi sɛ nkɔmɔ yi sɛ ne ma bobɔ so yi obroni beke sɛ ma wet wo appetite already yo mama nkɔmɔ na yɛ wo de na wobɛte ne de ne moroso ɛyɛ bra yɛre di sɛ adwuma yi ɛnu nti mamisi mantwa me ho na me ba mpanimfo a mabobɔ wondin Waba be kan kasa pe bi agire en o den asem ni na nije beba ubetie na ubetie nsem asopam na ntima misima
Ready for something refreshing and great tasting for your kids' enjoyment?
Angel Cola.
For your graduation enjoyment?
Angel Cola.
Beach hangout?
Angel Cola.
For all your refreshing moments?
Angel Cola.
For your parties, get-togethers, events, and celebrations, enjoy a chilled bottle of Angel Cola.
Radio Grandma, today is your day. Over to you.
Thank you.
Enjoyment Cola.
Angel Cola.
The Enjoyment Cola. Enjoy all your moments and fun time with Angel Cola. This advert is FDA approved.
Enjoyment Cola.
And they call me UJ. When you need a shoulder to cry, run on my pamper, so we try to suicide. Let bygone be bygone. I didn't see what the bottom gonna do. We go straight to stardom. And I go take you to next level. My baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The energy next level. Back baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll take you to next level. My baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't code next level. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
On my long and stressful days, I long for the refreshing company of my favorite companion.
Wow, my favorite.
Tomato onions, no tomatoes.
Hi. Oh, hello. Please, I need to know the drink you were enjoying earlier at the shop.
Sure. Even on Sundays in the market, nothing is for one. Guess what I brought? A refreshing companion for you and I.
My favorite.
Angel Drinks. Nyamepe, nyawenechehu.
Angel drink. This advert is FDA approved.
Yo, etiefo ahwefo dwumadina ne yeto aso no na yenkomo no yerefa yengahoɔden afi ofa na edikan nurse strike, a candles baptism of fire. Medikan ka kire mo no me kire mo niam bi nurse fo ene midwife fo wonga to atia wonga sam ne den wo se collective agreement abang fanye adwumaye abang mpanimfo afi asenso ba monten so be kasa oh mum yensi nkonwa ne nkasa wo se dabi nkonwasi bi anim esa ne se den ya no ma hyehye dedaw aku bebre na wode wo ho ahyen saade mu na won a woka sa aku yi ho ne Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association wotwa ne sing fro won JRNMA, Union of Professional Nurses and Midwives, UPNMJ, Ghana Registered Midwives Association, JRMA, National Association of Registered Midwives, NARMJ, Psychiatric Nurses Association of Ghana, PAPNJ, Nurses and Midwives Educators Society, NMES, nurses who nurses and midwives. One assemble then was say 2024. I have here. Only a bang yanji. France, Singuma, Chidawuma, or how Neniama, na near one second with Mamuno. Only a bang Singuma. One conditions of service until mobile collective agreement. Do one a bang seed nebi na where say abang yes oh mede neatisa monsakan with bamam 2024 besing your 2025 January February March April yenga du June adeng na mpampegu afusi abang ye wa sede aye twe na mentwe na ene ne ho sa dede mpanimfo aye won adwene se oh momra ne nkasa wo se dabi nurse fo no kura ku no anankrampo enso yese ne amomu ye mu amoka ho ni nyina mo se mo pese mo ko strike yang ni nyu wo nyina ye won adwene se wo be ko strike June 2nd na emuhara na May 27 wo ye meeting na wo je tu mo se mom ye nhwe na ye ne abankasa mom ye nko strike na emum ye no wi a akiri ye ni nyina na ye ne aban so kasa wo ho na strike da ma na Ghana Midwives and Registered Nurses and Midwives Association wo say dabi hene he yakwe nganim anunti da wo de share 2nd June sa aban anye ne to so ye de a wo de wo nyuma akodi nyina abegu ho wo de agu ho na deng na ekoso sansemu ne ba behwe se ye fihi ne bedu he na sa ne mai opening a mensa kana no pay e wo studio ha eye owura Jonathan Esare oye lawyer ni na wo hwe sansemu nyina eye labor issues lawyers wodi mu akoten papa ade bia ni wo a wo ya long kan bibiara efi awumu kozi owum eye mranko ya enunti mrane de eye from cradle to grave ehu hia papa enti obebuebu ensam ani a kire yen lawyer machi
chete fo suzina
yo lawyer nurse fo and midwives fo what the won niema wodi yenwuma wodi agu ho na amaye hu nsem bi woto wani hwe Kumase wo hwe hospitals a ewo Kumase ne Ghana babia no anya ni jesam na ekọ doctor fo waye won adwuma as doctors san ye adwuma as nurses and hospital mpanimfo akaka ho waye niema bebiri na ama adwuma no e ya boro won so ene dem nurse midwife wo ko strike asamaba eno ne ewo mu lawyer baby a won ko mogina na se collective agreement ewu na wo ya wo ye lawyer ni wo hwa nurses for and midwife no wo wasam
asem we dia asana trokonkono kanu the workman deserves his wages ojumayani essay onya naketua you know wushwe nurses, which is I learned the region of 140,000 nurses in Ghana, servicing over 300 hospitals and clinics littered across the length and breadth of Ghana. Na actually say nurses won juman ehun hia yi papa nipa de se na nipa yete no eye den nipa no bedu baby hu be jojo kakra hu be dodo kakra hu be dodo kakra itino ebasana na se unyo bi a wakwadare wonim de wo ayarisam na wotumenya wa yarisa na wa hoden yare de ya papa itino hadwin say nurses numbering over 138,000, 139,000 to 140,000. Wo Ghana faneni na washwe abang hospital be over 300. Uko rural areas kana asefem pa yi. Esanse uko some rural areas nurses no they even perform some of the duties of a doctor for. Into no asem we asefem sanso ya hweho. Na mum nurses won fa baako na aban so fa baako. Woni aban no enya nhyehyɛ ya na enya ntiase se aban won
lawyer so wasem meba ho na menko hama no so na me ne lawyer sompa monitor oroko baby yew lawyer sompa mema wachim eja
When you happen, you may chow on a payo.
So, lawyer, Adechia, nurse for, I do one two zegu one midwife for, was 1 year juma. We get this out, what case, Anna? Mona lawyers, Mokasa, Brofon. Also, ni case or case. Nurse for no, any midwife on what case, Anna?
Okay, for purposes of the legalities of the strike there, Manager just notified labor commission, almost on my, so a stricter sense, so Rebecca say be a more case, but I think, sir, the purposes of, there's been an injunction, labor commission acquired injunction, almost a young survey in T. They'll still go on the strike. Means to see him buying them pom pom so on buying for front. He's coming to terms with. I think that they are not new to governance, but on mine here, come here, say almost 50 to 60% of Sikai now goes into paying salaries. And it's been one of the bans. What the interest come when come as all our revenue is gone. Yeah, the TIA car interest on your car near to my 4K, and then we go back for taxes. There are real conversations to be had. Sebio, Aketia levels, is it generally okay in Ghana? I don't think so. I think that generally Aketia will form, but we and the different bargaining groups, different working groups, Obia is in everybody's interest to look for more money. CLOSAG did it in first quarter. We're seeing the nurses now. Teachers, university made an indication earlier. So different people will express interest for more money. The point at this time, they say how the Abino works to balance the books and balance all the outturns. It will be times or more cases. I think generally, of course, they want more money, and you can't fault anybody for wanting more money in Ghana. But the point is, there's currently an injunction for which reason they should go back to work and go back to the table to talk. Meaning, you question na
Waboboso na midibisa besan atoso. Yo. Ni wo say was one collective bargaining agreement. Abanga mfanya adwuma. Ni edikan questions here being collective bargaining anything. Na adeng na abang mfanya adwuma ye.
Collective bargaining, usually if you're a working group, let's say teachers, let's say nurses, you're giving the license to negotiate with your employer together. So the bargaining agreement here, the final terms and conditions of your service becomes the collective bargain for, say, nurses. Now, I say in this particular case is that the agreement was one-sided, or it was at least what the nurses have proposed, and it was sometime last year, and this new government wants to sort of renegotiate some of the parts. Matis and nurses for the essential point is that their renewal of licenses shall be paid for, and other conditions they are expressing. This current minister wants to renegotiate some of those terms, but the nurses, my understanding is that they say it's conclusive for them. I would implore on them, said you about Fufronaba, if they had even concluded, I understand that it's been signed in part, and so Abino finance shall say potting. For which reason I think is important to sit around the table, and if even is a process of revalidation, they should revalidate the essential part of it, so that be binding on this current employer. Of course, a buying a continuum. Into a buying ANC, a buying, but for that purpose, no. Who be here? Say a buying on finance and share that collective agreement. I say, at least give him the benefit of the doubt and revalidate some of the central position. Into chopa ni abe panels for no. So money are buying international no money incomo. And then if even is to say yen komu biem negotiation they at na table one and ye din komo. So they should at least go to the table with good faith, and then the outcomes will be determined as is. Many opinion.
Biara saa nneɛma yi ɛkɔ so abanhyɛbɔ onni so na adwumayɛfo wɔn ate wasi mmɔnten so wɔsi wɔnyɛ adwuma wɔde wɔn nneɛma wɔde yɛ adwuma nyinaa agu hɔ adan na aban ntumi biribia no ne yiw nyɛ yiw na ne daabi nyɛ daabi na saa nneɛma yi ɛba efisɛ nea yɛhu yi ɛnyɛ nnɛ ne yɛn ahu daa dabɛn dan ade na ɛte sɛ aban yɛ na ɛtu twa efisɛ yɛn abrɛ.
The root cause and at the bottom line there, ade baako pɛ. Sebio se wo fie na ye tia oka osome apem sidi apem ana usika nyina ya apem nanso o ma school fees ne dia oyiri bedi okeka nyina boma ye mfanza apem ne oha da echi na ya oha na da echi no sebi senior bronika oberobi Peter dia people nti budget no na we are running a deficit on our national budget. And I'm kind the essential element of fire car day, nehu interest. Now for my 4 car senior CTSSA na a America say a buy sika pudo na Sara. Inti and on the money yet ding say a buy a balance the interest. But the American chat say in that sense is important that abino in the nature of those negotiations are clear. To say that they're meeting me to any and they're meeting me to any. And then for purposes of what abino can pay, and what abino can pay is clear. So once there's clarity for purposes of the abino between me and what abino ain't me to no. There will be no confusions about what the bargaining powers are and what the conclusive agreements are. But once a bind in Sasha said that bind should know, and I say also I am in contact that and an ordinance Sasha say ordinance Sasha bargaining agreement and I say they are also odiso, but answer no better no basic rationality would afford say why in contact answer. So, of course, you see in many parties because they breach the agreements, but ultimately the reason is because budget non-balance. Many opinion meaning to my question no.
Who can say one call share renegotiation one call transit no one abang enkasa na one share say renegotiation sa nyeme bibia no enyumayefo aya na ngani nyehu ezane se na odi kankan aban ye a continuum enu nti sa aban bi ekasa anaso osi gina bi a aban na ore waban adan no ntua so adan na emu aya sakra na ha wadwene so de ye adwuma wujeri sankasa ya dedi baba.
I think single spine it was signed here for just the day before or so not signing single spine, which became like the bane of era Tamils fair nearby one of the biggest headache you have to confront with. Senior medical can aketia generally obia nkase aketia so no Ghana. So sikadia obia pedia ka ho. So next for no are not wrong to want more money. if the bargaining agreement was conclusive in the sense that Abai signing it there, then say now can government is a continuum. In Tisebio, a new government cannot seek to renegotiate it. And so I agree with that. But Mentias and said the formal government and now Mentias and said the government has not signed its part. In that sense, say to Abani buying now it was part of the middle of the negotiation, or even it was concluded without the bargaining agreement being executed. I think then there is a window to renegotiate. It will be based maybe me sure say next for no Kasaba for so they would probably correct me on my understanding of the facts. But in America no say fact na say Abino hadn't signed his part there, then there is a window for renegotiation because definitely then it means that the collective agreement was not concluded. But say I dare say executed there, then Abino in many parts will be bound by the deed of the government at the time. Really a determination of fact. So Abina signing it there, then Minister of Finance Abekano Atrim. Now we're so we'll have to make the numbers out for it. Otherwise, I think that they may have a window to renegotiate if the government hasn't signed this part, which is my understanding.
Bia and you may focus striker. Over to any Labor Commission, warrior and in walk court. Now, one could get to me or now what the Ababe share and you may follow Kete, Monkodam Goyajuma, was I a casa. So, sir, action by Labor Commission, I a boya anime.
Okay, Labor Commission, it's the body authorized by law. So my for employers. No and in many parts, answer now strike. No, there's a process. You write to them. If you have any grievance as an employee, you go to the Labor Commission. They have an arbitration panel. They arbitrate the matters. In this particular sense, no, Emrama on who coin said so be ye chere ewe jumama na so the nyuma to ho na nyemra kwan so a owo ho kwan so okoji to me ewo court ehye adwumayeni ni ketene so onye adwuma anase se bi or make a decision be na se obi fa kwa decision ni tia no indi sa ni jina esi na no a ohun kwan se okoko to koji to me ehye nipa cross sa ni decision na wa making nipa cross mfa nya adwuma inti so okoko to woni to me krata mu so otimi kokko to koji sa to me no the woman say in this particular case wakoji to me no inti will be good say you at least once the nurses are served, they respect the powers of the court, and then go back and have those valid conversations. Sebio Bianca say on common nurse for on common person no and yan pa. But the Becca say Sabrea abind to me in the court to me about say on some no. They are bound by law to respect it while they seek to renegotiate.
Or other colleagues so. Aden Labor Commission otanasia na nsemu dum pempen so say ansa na wo ba mu say oroko court ko je tumi abashi obi kete aden no prevent nia ede nkrofo ede ma wonye adwuman ebe ma won ato atian aden na Labor Commission won hwe no nziesie no na jesi won ato atian ansa no oroko court eno so ye
Mina penye me anase money afoforo.
Say aden na Labor Commission there be a otwan ansa na nkrofo ato atian ansa na wahwe na wakokɔ takogye tumi na ade no prevent sadi sɛ obahwe sɛ ensi kura in the first place adan so na aban hye ba na aban ni so ya ontumi mfa ne nan si wo na onhwe na aban so ni saa bɔhye no so.
Okay, meaning say in many theory, I will class them labor law. Questions back why I did who watching and say labor commission ankasa aban na appointing no. Inti sebio aban as an employer no, so can labor commission at any point in time serve as a neutral arbiter between the government, who himself is an employer of labor commission. So in theory, ye this uncommon way or school demo pa. The American CSUP ne say in many parts, no, abino there's a fair wages commission. No, Ntinyen labor commission ne share abine in terms of what is fair wage. Labor commission there no yes say bi ontawa bi aba ho na menteme ho asi bi aba, and then they arbitrate on those matters. In many parts, on particularly on unrest, say be a cost strike, no, that it's the process. Meaning senders vona kasa omotre command labor commission, so oman boom rabia so and things like that. But to the extent the labor commission is made that decision to say strike now wakono unlawful or akoko takoje tumi krata say omunkuta omonsano they needs to be respected. As to whether or not labor commission needs to do more for the employees on behalf of the government, Sabi Obina Denasem, also Denasem Codine Labor Commission, there needs to be a complainant. And he said if the nurses had specific complaints, they would have to file their complaint, or as it may be, their petition with the Labor Commission, and then the Labor Commission will sit on the merit of those petitions. The process in Labor Commission would warrant Sebi. I also be the Nasem Bedina and Sa. Now the Wasem Kodina, what Nasem Naswa Kamanesi. Inti Abia, Bien time for us among Kodine Labor Commission. But on wages, the fair wages is the body that determines the practice of the wage. But on dispute, no, the Labor Commission becomes a pathway for the employees. Inti Abia Assemno na also the Kodine Labor Commission a bit more than we were used to.
Lawyer, ubesumu na meba ho. Mamenko hamano so. Na
medase.
Yura kwesi akwa enso nkasa. Opening match.
Hello, me na from here.
Mpacho ni owo no oma me hu ni din. Mpacho hina na.
Your friend Dr. David Tinkranchum, mini general secretary for Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association.
Yo. Na meba wo so na meko kwesi akwa ho. Na mo menya we dey Mr. Tinkran yenko oda nurse fo ene wo friend the midwife for ano na nsɛm akɔyi unim ne ekɔ den na ekoso den na etise yehu saabiri a yehu ye meja ka bibi kyerɛ
yo mira medase meche watifo mecha menu no mpanifo nso a omo studio ho mecha wahwefo nso de di kan mame nsan na wasipio so wa mame akwanya se mene Ghana fo nkasa na de asem no etie no memfansi ekoso me ya me mpese me kwachiri bebre na emum omrenti ye nurse fo ye ne aban ene fair wages and salaries commission ene memfane se Ministry of Health and sector ministry no enfimi no biara yesinkunya ehwe yen adwuma no ho akade I friend conditions of service the edikan ayeye pa 2016 menu 2016 dia ayeye employer wamfa anya adwuma eto so mienu 2018 na anka say sign kobio but this is 2016 dia na employer na amfa anya adwuma ntino your president ano ho ada sabre ne friend doctor Kwame Asah o yes mfa so be akra maso si etimi akotena se 2016 na ban na amfa anya adwuma dia onfa 2016 dia na anya adwuma ye bono na yen ba office 2020 me be general secretary ene ye sign abai ko sti nkunya ena ye condition of service eno omodi ye adwuma ebi omo anfa bi anya adwuma book and research allowance dia na esese ye de ma ye teacher fo a omo kira de wo nursing training colleges mami enchiru mu say omo ye say omo be implement sa de no na mum na ekwan ya na omo fa so de implement no na emwa yen crofo no isa so omuja bebregu enti ekoye back and forth ekoye twimamantwi kakra enti mekase no kromo amfa nya adwuma na nye na no kware a wo mu ne se omo ye se omo de be adwuma na enipa no a yen ekoye negotiation ma omo amfa omo nyina anka ho enu nti no eye twimamantwi kakra ama emra amam ama omo amfa anya adwuma number 1 ade ba ko omo amfa anya adwuma eye village incentive ye say yenuan nkwara no omo krase no omo bre omo ewo 24/7 enti enye bibia ebema omo timi anya ahomeka bi ana ahokeka bi atimi dia asom Ghana for eno no Ministry of Health ne say omo person omo designated areas omo abefre no deprived it's say yen union the intimate kase bia high deprived and high deprived into omo call University of Ghana and I think one of the department geography department or eco sinkunya ema omo design areas here demarcate areas here deprived and the committee B was put together to do that work. Fast forward 2024 any example another negotiation me any sign a kra abai any union abai fair wages and salaries commission na edi kan emma by me find say edi abai ni yes sign bibia wie na abai no yes or the be adwuma nti 1st July 2023 4 and anka ss ba adwuma na emum yen crofo no bako unze atuate ati yen crofo no bako en crofo ni bi so mo nka sang enkrofo na na omo nka no mu bako esigina say yen ekoye negotiation no ya mo amane omo anka se amfa omo anko no omo se ya mo amane no kwari nyame nim na yenim se omo kra no omo atiku na sebe labor law no a ewo Ghana no at 651 no e kire se enipa mienu mpokra bitumatiku na okotiku na de kohye ombase a meme ye de hu se watiku na se me koye negotiation a ma frɛ se fa wo input bra omo no omo ho nyina ye frɛ omo ena omo tenase ya momo amane keke ye frɛ omo no omo tenase momo de omo input buy omo di omo put input buy so ye harmonize ye kan nyina abomu answer na form proposal ame de akoye negotiation enti omo so ene atwema so kakra enti omo court ekoje injunction e de to ade ne so enti aban na ntimi a implement ena by January of 2025 ye ka asem na ofie ewie ye nuafo enti court no ye say yenko fie ne ko kasem enti ye nuam no ko tenase ene ye ko ka asem no ena enti ase bae ene de ye friend say no enti ase na bae ne de court ene court agigina mu as consent judgment enti from January ena ye sign yes na ato January ama implement ade because na could Ministry of Finance and Finance Minister na be sign keke akọ controller enti ye ko mu chief director no so ade na de enya ade dada bia na mum no ye modern na ye osre ye ma ye ntwen emma aban foforo no enyi sector ministries no ministers no nti ye minister for health na ye minister for finance afi ne atoaso na ye mum no is say omunim say ade no Ministry of Finance no chief director of minister Ministry of Finance, one Ministry of Health, one Ministry of Finance chief director and beka. In the minister na buy a pepe no abona money. So what they we crowd any we data. In the fra krata to so na yenkutua. And yes, so. In the trans in a Minister for Health a buy and a Minister for Finance buy. You go home no so you mean train na read the budget and so yeah na even the last budget on July mid-year budget on we in 2024 no. The condition of service was inside. Until a new budget be about some kayati, Saban for from Abba, Namo 7% more reading budget and sana, more triadiano, yati anyhow, any train. If you are bona, Ministry of Finance, in fact, Kratan to Sunanko controller, no moon triadi kamaya, almost a net nochana and a nochana. Now, Mammy Kabibikakra. Fair wages and salaries, Labour Commission say, yeah, strike near illegal, ye jitunze enye illegal. It's say 7-day mandatory period is the moment the mouth. Okay, section 162, clause 3 of the Labour Act now. Actually, say entiwajuwe be back between employer and employee. Now say notify Labour Commission. It's as essential services within 3 days. Say Labour Commission. It may fair the two parties to compulsory arbitration as dictated to by section 164 of the Labour Act. Labour Commission for Omo and Tusanamon. And any kind of say he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. You can challenge that position of Labour Commission at the court of appeal, because we think that employer use that as a tool. So I say, as a template, they will renege on their responsibility. And I say, workers, etu ana mobia, no mako dimrika no mako Labour Commission, I say almost say no mako high court, no mako injunction. So it's a template. And I am embodying employers. I'm just say they be on the workers. Yeah, some of us are nice for the midwife for essential service. And the more can they are essential service. No one providing essential services. So they say it is a template, not the whole thing. A baby or baby, a nice employer be or just no the workers in. So I say, in the strike here almost illegal. Yeah, for say illegal. Number 2 injunction almost almost injunction or beyond injunction be amre. And see, as far as we are concerned, Kwame Asah and one is so. Now, may the make catch Ghana for and say, and yet Ghana Fonti, and in your binding thing to us, Anamui. You who say, nice for me do I for. Young friend is for the biara in your retirement as purpose. Me metacos nice for omo aqua retirement from a retired nurses club. Oh, every region be able to corner on a nurse for 39 years, 40 years, 38 years. Kasa ubisu. We will not fail the next generation of nurses and midwives in Ghana as leaders. And see, many our frame here, they make me a bonnet of Akachon. And that's it.
Mami Misao, once I'm now kind of Mami Misao, money government negotiation year 2024 no. Most sign na man sign.
Meaning yes sign ye, Mami Misao. Ye kasi negotiation no. Man negotiate we mo negotiate we are.
Abang sign the part, and I'm sign more part na.
Abai signing the part, fair wages for signing on more part, Ministry of Health signing on more part, and I answer signing a part. It was signed, sealed, and delivered. The assessor Abai we are say Minister for Finance at the crata better so. And not me a friend approval. We are not even asking for signing anything. We say approval. Say or the crata better so keke say controller for Muntia dear Sumasia ya sign the day. And no, yes, signing again. And the question will be something. Yes, signing a buying signing fair wages for so signing yes, so yes, signing. Meet me the Biabro see I'm no say. I will be for you, no say we pay meet me for Biabro. Who say made the victim crime. I'm a witness say, Emma Winner, no, my president is saying the chief director of Ministry of Ministry of Health, SINA at that time, and a friend Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, the chief executive, so SINA.
Say na okan je mo san bibia na se e ba sa banke se momra na yentena yensi nkonwa na yenhwe sa adin bi o a mo de be adwuma na mo vanya adwuma
minua nkonwa no sa nkonwa siem e de na de baba ye de ye tani ade kro me se yasi nkonwa na wi ya negotiation na wi ya sign ade no de akase esese employer ne yene say obema minister for finance edi letter krata atoso akoma controller say muntua adewe na adewe see condition of service there monetary aspect and your non-monetary aspect. Non-monetary aspect, Ministry of Health and agencies and implemented. And your monetary aspect, and no eco controller and accountant general. The year say, and your brabet nasi, negotiation. We have gone past any negotiation. Our condition of service is not subject to renegotiation. The year say, yen kotsna bia and moving koyana bis or secret bibiamu. The year sign or yagiatum, abayagiatum is binding. A friend collective agreement is binding. The assessor me is on be implemented. Am I? She minya ya can nurse for the midwife for no who said a CBN. Oh dear, me bomb pie say adiwe bika. That group measure that back. Na me max say no ma ye did nurse for Ghana. A be on position. I say ye demand nurse in Ukraine. They are come before position. As I say, the man
Labour Commission
Embra say position
I'm sir, most strike and illegal strike. And into Monko Unko Yejuma whilst a negotiation ekoso. Mubedizu anamuniso.
Of the mechanical negotiation, we are not at the negotiation table. Me say negotiation here. Labour Commission as
Labour Commission is the most strike and illegal strike. And into Monko Yejuma. What can answer me? Mobile Quaya Namonye.
Yen Cornell chance to count. The American say, Yen Gitu say strike and illegal. It's say 7-day mandatory notice and I say the Labour Commission on the employer. Ye the Maum. Number 2, the can say ye need negotiation table and a Labour Commission catch say we should go back to the negotiation table. Ye renegotiations. Assign at the navy. Employer they say, what is your bargain? What is your side of the bargain? Oh, employer and the says, oh yeah, negotiation on my as a Ministry of Finance and approval for implementation. So your margin say bear approval for implementation. You better back. And no day, no in him will be catcher say monko back because strikey the yes can say yeah negotiation we. Negotiation, you sign document. I drew time as so implement the Ministry of Finance, Enfa Krata, and Toso, and Coma Controller say, I didn't want you negotiate yen, Yagiatum, send you a signing and intino, yeah, approval, or more approval. Nobody needs to tell us to come back. We will come back to work. And Omoyene, watch not, Yabeba. But some more one is Omoya, may say, yeah, Matisse almost almost aquajin janshi. And my catcher, that's the stock in trade. We are law-abiding citizens. Almost serving as a bit one among so it's not a substitute service. It's interlocutory injunction. It must be served on us. So almost serving to one among almost serving a bit one among and because a law-abiding citizens. We don't want to come in contempt with the court. But once almost serving an idea, almost serving is deemed that we have not been served. But the mechanism is subayana. You see, I have done this job for 24 years. Any part more you might na yam force be permanent in the Pahmaju. That's Subana a war employer for us to say, the assessor more you know, you mean, make a say employer because I buy the employer not to Oko Ministry of Health, apart from Honorable Mita Kando, Madame Fiori, Omo no who now. Ministry of Finance, apart from Dr. Atufosia, or a political head, almost no mere negotiation now more hope. Into I didn't yet that. Into the America, I'm Ghana fortunate, and yes, Sadi, Ama, Ubi Akon, him with the America say, so we are for now, do no Adam for nice be an only midwife be a friend. Family be a nice midwife whom be how a friend or be more advice. The American say, a very painful and you do employer no almost for nice for the just only a mind you can be almost look so be that so big will be Ghana or boy I mean just me the Ghana and I think committee because you see baby you do
who's one servo moye nasa was servo ma so mobile court and namorenko
okay set na make a choice say yeah enforce it a friend is saying, illegal. Yes, strike illegal. Labor Commission for illegal. We can go to the Court of Appeal and challenge the legality of the strike. We are prepared to go to the long haul, but interlocutory injunction there. Say yes, on you have to abide. Do you understand? But yes, we will talk to our lawyers and then we will know what to do. But once the NSF and but the me person me catch Ghana for say my emfa yenya hotoso e interlocutory injunction na abreno no Labor Commission for it has become a template. So they say let's frustrate the people. They will go on strike and they will go for injunction and injunct them. Me say mumienya sa de na yenya opepa na de sese yenso yenye wa frankrofo adwuma mu wo mu eno atranse asinkunya amanasi de sese wo ye
yati stories ba ko ne se wo se openfo bi rekɔ hospital bi na owakan nurse fu ni wa wo behwe ene ho niam yetete niam ne nkrofo yare nkrofo riwu ne ho niam so ayamudana
minia enye de na omo yare no omo wu no unim se nurse fo nso betimi aka ho bi nurse fo no mi do afo no omo yare de me kan se eya reho eya ya enkan se si duru ha nanso ye de se kai gananka ye de se kan agananka chedo na yenso yenye nankarefo yentra ho me mfa se kan nanka da biasa ana me ka cho se eya reho obuo na ni bie ni ho ema nurse fo Ghana the first jama nurse fo no jama yenku school and now be because be crowd me no be kasa no say and then and they for doctor na medical doctor so no have a PhD and a nurse there we have the PhD. Can you imagine? They don't even know that we are running PhD in universities in Ghana. PhD in nursing universities in Ghana. Just the first nurse for any you say you shy you have for you did I have for form ubiko baby so no why you say man nursing egumu ahoro. You were basic nursing and advanced nursing and they were specialist nurses and midwives in Ghana. So we have professors in nursing and midwifery in Ghana.
Ne ekoso nyina nti obi appeal to mu say oh ne ekoso yi muntwamani na muntie ne abanka ne mpanimfo kan na mo de momra ne eni nkomo a mu beti anase muntie anase mu bekoso ato say adwom muntie obi a eno na mo bekoso ato ana
anya se yantie obi a no kware nyame ne obo na ne die so adan ni sa onipa no a o sere yesi yemra ons kantra ban say onso de sese o ye no e ma na ese fo ni midwife no yama o mo no mo mra de bia san enyum we ne to man na ese fo isan say first for the nurse de that o toka edam we nurse an say o si dan edam for is not single na ya man for kasu na Ghana for nurse for nursing man who sababa we be they say nursing no is not profit. Let me tell you something, go to other jurisdictions and see how much the money they pay to nurses and midwives. For instance, girl no yeah friend mother of modern nursing, she was a bourgeoisie, the parents were rich people and nothing any man sa suban or dan na for one say obi ofisikam no sikam na anamono otu no the parents cry and peneso na utimi tu ye boy I have for o criminal war no enti ne maye beji ni too as the mother of modern nursing and just for example the nursing bag e say she wasn't a poor person. So if anybody thinks that if you practice nursing or midwifery you have to be poor, then that person is deluded. That person doesn't know history. That person is not educated. We are nurse and just say you must be poor.
Dr. Mamisa, enkosi da ben na mo strike yi ebebe wi
abosen o Ghana say me say in the next second, not minute, second, Minister for Finance tumu say negotiation na ya no aban agye tumu no ya approve me say 1 second you be call it off the strike. I'm telling you 1 second, menka 1 day, menka 1 hour, menka 1 minute, me say 1 second. Ye say Minister for Finance will approve say a controller for implementing a condition of service. No, you better call it of the strike. We are not saying that we want the condition of service to be implemented, paid before we go on strike. Even takes days. Answer na, yeah, per se implement be implement. And yes, it takes some time. For the say be a minister no class idea na. A better controller. It will take some days. You even try on kaso. More implement ya dia na answer na. Yeah, call it off. Next, I know the near person man fu. Debbie. Yes, or approve at the end of document na yina jiatumwa binding on the government, and ask the employer or approve send you approve man. Senior staff workers of the universities, and then we are more approval on the amount. And also no last negotiate here. Have other health workers who name say condition of service come once you can negotiate here the pen or matabrima other people. I don't want to go into any coalition cause with any other group, but do you know that all other health workers are enjoying the same and even better condition of service than nurses and midwives? They may okay, condition of service here come once diary. The same condition of service may say all other health workers except nurses and midwives enjoy this one and even better. Me pa Josie, grab you.
Ukasa okay. Use unga approve nkrofo bi de senior staff one conditions of service and when you modern eda bi eda who will be to say discrimination on the part of government was asemu mana
minia but the mekra I mean person make government they say employer they are not only discriminating against that, they are disrespecting us. Okay, you who say omunfa obuo ni anidie ema nurse for any midwife for Ghana uni bi de omaye omo bo apa ko frefre union keton na omo atete omo afi association ho ene omo ko hia ko ye meeting ene omo ko share omo kutupa ena ye nkrofo no so bi ka kire omo say ye betimi hold the fourth let them go. So they were calling our bluff. They were calling the bluff of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. That is what they were doing. Divide and rule. That inferior communist status. No, we've gone past that. Our members are wiser. They are smarter. They are thinking about their future. Okay? And it is our smaller unions. No, our members, no, they defy their leaders because they realize that their leaders are not fighting for their interest. Meaning at the FIT, common SBL, and yet GRN the members in Kwa. Now Ghana Hornets, you know, 128,000 nurses and midwives. Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, no, yet in 1960, no, Jina Kitia, yen fire, Honko Tari Aban because Aban oh yeah, nursing leader, oh yeah, midwifery leader. You have to be reasonable, you have to be apolitical, you have to stand for your people, irrespective of your political inclination. And no nama GRN, yeah, Jina from 1960. Nkrumah ntimi engunu achempo ntimi engunu obiara ntimi engunu up to today because we look at the interest and the welfare of our members irrespective of whatever regime is in power. But enkwara mo aba no omo de eni na make say omo kotaya banachi. And when you do that, you are fighting against your own people, you are fighting against your omo nkrofo no anti omo nyina adwane strike no o de omo ntwen say Monday beba Monday drew ho na injunction yen sankan ye be withdraw ward e ho no be hu say omo members na omo so mo ni members enye say ye pese ye bibi chiro bi e kire say ye wotumi yen that's for ngita tumi yen ngita to ngita panie yen ngita to ngita sekan yen panie ni kita yen panie no Ghana fo nsuru enti no mo nka bi man no matia baba wa bi ye friend den oye dwuma onua FM na na benefo mami nyina already wadi so enanase nyame behita no obenyi ache yare abo ne nana emani wuye ebo no a onu pani obi a wetimi akasa ama nurse for ni midwife for e wo Ghana ho omo ase omo na omo di atemo international omo ko mani
me no nya adwene fi se nkomo aye di nyina no eye mumwe mara nti Ghana fo bebre nso wo mumwe mu ne ho niama na samba wona kan na mum ma me hwa de bi wo kan se joda se mun san carrot na mo de mo strike mo de ba kwa another level den na mo adwene se mo pese mo ye
say you know roadmap na de to ho no say you have red bands first 2 days na fe up to up to Sunday ya withdraw OPD and emergency services. Monday, no, it's a total lockout, it's a total strike. Into what say young for no ward the yedmo, into co ward, will be who said nurse for yedmo ward. Or more nurse for no yedmo ward, and then a channel, and I say, if he started striking, only a young members who. It's not say you're doing Ghana for whom, you're person Ghana for Bibu, yeah, for that a good hospital, into me, and sorry, I can say a cost strike. Into ko hospital ne obi hu say nurse fu bi ewo ward eyadwuma omo ye members na Monday drua ye be withdraw obu nyina so afiri ho sa na ye ka
mani beje
ye ni de enyi esan say me ma me wa ya brewa eti ayi emprise so ne ho dodo no a atidie na obekọ no ne nurse ni ho. It is a very painful but necessary measure ye take ahwe daji. Esan say ye moon nurse for Ghana, ye the nurse for to form, ye force nurse for the midwife for the as I saw nam kwan ho na politician to wa foul. Atra ne kam. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. We will go the long haul.
Etwato ne say groups na mo groups bebre group ben na strike mako strike ana groups ni nyina ana
minia na medical catcher no ye wo Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association yet in 1960 me say ofa nurse for ni midwife for Ghana for enyina Ghana 128,000 yen 96,000 yen ya cost strike no but the American natural is say smaller groups no more aka almost all members no so almost all cost strike because almost force all leaders no the almost yen more because they fight no you fight more obi o enye yen crofo nko na ye cost strike na mom almost yes almost akoka ban no ho na say wo ye union leader na odwen enipa ho a odwen nurse for ho odwen wo crofo na wo CS represent wo na odo ho be call ataban odo ho be call bataban say we will hold the fort. You see, look, we've been around since 1960. We have seen government upon government. They are the same. And you know, a drusi ye kun say ye come your members. Ye nwe hun say ya ban we. 2020 ye call strike. Aban was war. 2004 ye call strike.
Employer e ba bontin say CS. Oh, send ya niam akoi. Mumma me break akra na menhwe na mintua musika mama mo be preso na mo preso.
Employer ne ba be ka say wa ko hun ninua wa Ministry of Finance, I'm a Minister of Finance for approval at the end of the Ochina yebeba be adwuma. Men ka se on piesi canon nyina man ansam ti de me say opani mesro me da se paso mama konyen me say yen ka se aban no entue isika nyina man ansam ne yeba be adwuma da bi yes ye ne aban asinkunya agye krata bi atum won nyintum say or the be adwuma approval Ministry of Finance no emma approval no se controller for emphasize krata no a ye ne aban agye atum no dada no emfa nye adwuma the next second yebeba adwuma na bramian class ye
approval na mo hwehwe no ma me break akria bi na me study niam bi na afei menye ntuma mo be ma aban employer no mo be ma na sa kwan no o se ni akoso nyina ma me break akra na me hwɛ na me ni approval no ho dwuma briti akakra na mom sa abre no mo nkɔ na mo kɔ adwuma na ma me break akra me hwɛ na approval na nya adwuma mo be ma employer no sa kwan no
ofa me si bibia ni ho asesa ban ne hwɛ employer no ya sign agreement na wi the assessor o ye ne say obey implement the agreement no enti de ye be ma ne kwan ma na ye ne say okay ma approve ade no enti no mo me entena ase na ye nhwɛ implementation no eno ye be plan so fa ne say bia and the Minister for Finance say okay I have approved the thing enti no implementation e de ye ebedi America kranti yen tenase na mumu no yen to hwehwe kwan a ye be fa so implement ade na ye be pene so sa approval na my card ya yen pene so because negotiation no me say our condition of service is not subject for renegotiation o hwe a agreement now. 1 year into the implementation of the condition of service, you can call for reopener. Because something wage opener. And each party can call for wage opener. Again, number 2, the condition of service is a living document. It means that it has an expiry date. It expires in 2 years. It's 1 year already. It has, I mean, yes, 1 year come. 1 year, any. Yes, 1 year, any. And I can't 1 year document in a cry. And the entrance and then yet is 2016, they are no more implementing it. Yeah, and the MSRAN say, I buy Ghana for our Moyamoshi show, so Mobusian for Bayari, including me. Young can't by employer and say, almost say, Omonwasi and Kunya, Acadian Manesi, Minister for Finance, no, onfa approval letter and to Sonenko controller. And ne, Bejuma, na Ghana for Obia Waton, na, or man, yes, I see a build ground. You see, I'm so passionate about Ghana, ain't I make me VP demand some bridge.
Ube so mama ba. Mami kwa free no so na me Ghana. Owura Akwasi Akwa MP odan enso nkasa. No ye Owura Kufuado Minister, Deputy Minister for Health. Mr. Akwa, machi.
Mejo so Mira.
Mr. Akwa, wo ye adwuma wo Health Ministry. Na wo ye deputy wo ho. Mo demonsa share krata ase ewo ni anesis fuika ana mwamfa msanjase
Yo Mira memfa chia kase ma wo na memfa ma wahwefo no watiefo gina matumi botie yira tenkran wa dan asem ni nyina eni akere ampa me wo CB ni bi edamanim ha afanu yina esan ye fair wages esan ema ban and a chief director ni e wo ho no wo ho Laji Hafiz also witness ye and a nurse for no so perpetual esan ye no ratin kwen ya no I witness ye ntin document ni bi edamanim ha a menim se ya sensan bibia edimu na said o chire mu pepepe no ye move ya ma na the aka say ye ba implement it our finance a kopum say omo group ni bi mu ba ko e de courts a court no na e was say you can say you twintwen so na say omo injunct process no na wo court na say kan wie ye no na ye fi aban mu enti efutuo kakra media wo ho no say abanyai say odi sade we eye politics cause menim de efiri na menim be bia ba beduro na anese for ho asem no ye politicians senior kan ye no ne se na menim no ye ne omo nsa wo so die no ekoya akopum se nka ye ba implement akopum se omo group ni bi e de call courts na omo twentwen so a se anesefo ho adwuma hia yen na ye man ho hia yen a bigidi se aban ebekọ nanim no wahwe we ehu bi wo anesefo nim utie owuratin kran a ehu ewo mumu se omo makwan se obni aban ekọ akotena se bi mu a ebia nanu asem ni bi betimi asan se bi fact the recently crowd amana ehu say enim say aban yi ba e menya politics ba anesefo ne a doctor form asem dia unya de politics a na sebe unye man ba but ye nim say nipa wo ababan mu yi sa aban atiswe nipa ye fa o madwuma bra na ye wa aban mu po ba wa be yomi nyina adi na wo mo prim so wo courts enti se ebasa no a adwehye mu a wa aban mu se eba odwumani ehun nsam ene ne nkomodie no a ya na adwumayefo no ehun wo mu kakra dutie owura tenkran a Dr. Tenkran a na kyerɛ sɛ ehu ewu ne mu sɛ ɔmbɛ subject ɔmo ho to aban discussion ɛno a metie yɛwura kando ɛyɛ obi a menim so ɛyɛ so passionate about health nya kwan na medi nkɔmmɔ a meka sɛ mene no awɔ health committee no so na na motoɔ nyinaa no sɛ health deɛ ɔmfa nni agorɔ but saa ɔpɛpa a wɔwɔ ɛwɔ health ɛkan kɔ na wɔno ara nso yɛde no akɔto health ministry ɛwɔ saa ban mu yi ɛdi ninya ti na mo topic no mo say baptism of fire for Akando hayampa ɛno metie no ɛmo ka sɛ wɔhwehwɛ ekuo impanimfo po ne ɔmadi nkita ho onhu ɔmo na wotie yɛwura tenkran oni Ghana na nampezo bisa no so wɔhen so bɛkyerɛ nko ade a ko wɔhwe na service no yakɔ no na mpanimfo no eni Ghana na minim sɛ ɔmo wɔ Ghana ka kwan bia aban bɛfa so a sɛ ɔbɛhwɛ na watimi interrupt ɔmo action yi no ɔbɛfa so but oni Ghana na kyerɛ sɛ ɔmani abre sɛ ɔmo pɛ sɛ ɔmo ko ɛde ma wɔ manfo enti minua ubisa ya ɛyampa yɛsensan yɛ na ebi bisa sɛ yɛsensan yɛ adenti na yɛ implement ratin krabedi dance yɛ sɛ adeɛ no had moved from the ministry manako finance and was a finance actually call controller na what shas ye di adwuma akopem say anesefo no akuo baako e de call court say na negotiations no mo nka ho bi ya mama ne na senia ye ratin kra na aka ye na ba sa de ara say nya ban mfo so say sabre no entimi amem January ya eno mu yi asem na ba fie aba beka sabri asaba aban na ba mu biu a wo sa aban etibi hwetu ho anabo
miwra mamimi saw bra mo more moni won didi sa nkita ho no mu dwen sika mo omanyi wo a ebetumetua sa kan anase mo san kekegetum mo yes ankontan hu se yewo na kade wo ho a yebetumi de atua na mo hwe sa ankontan
oh binia de woman say efa enkuntabuo ani akatua nsabo de aban no enni ahoɔden a obetimi aka se ne adwumayɛfo panyin nara no obetimi ayɛ ama no prɛkopɛ ɛno nti ɛna yɛ tena se dinkita ho na obia akabi na akoye enkomodie na sɛ aban edu pɛpɛ so bi no gi tu mu no san yɛ nko ade na kyerɛ sɛ bebe ska do bia no ɛwɔ se yɛhwɛ ne de ma yɛnua no ma nɛsefo esan sɛ ne ɔka yɛ no yehunu sɛ bra no ɛhyehyɛ a na ɛwɔ hɔ a wɔ sɛ yɛ ma ɔmo asetena mu yɛ ɔmo de no hwe mu yɛ adwuma no aban atwa mu ne bra atwa mu ne ade nyinaa no na yɛntimi nni so papa afei nso yehunu sɛ anesefo ankasa no yelu so dodoɔ na no mu dodoɔ na ɛkɔ ama no ne mu dodoɔ na ɛfo sɛ Ghana de otena Ghana na yɛ nurse adwuma enkoyi ti dodoɔ na no ɛkɔ ama no ne ne ade kɔ yɛ nnwuma bi a sabe ensem fata Ghana ni nurse ya tete no ɔbɛkɔ ama no ne na adwuma bi a ɔyɛ no na ɛnyɛ adwuma pa nanso esan kakra wa na ɔyɛ abrankɔtena ha enko betimi akɔdadim na wetimi de ahwɛ yɛ manfo enti gi agitu mu no ya gitu mu sɛ ai ye de nyame dɔ ne ɔman ho dɔ ɛbɛyɛ no saa sɛnea yatena se ahyehya bedu saa pɛpɛ so yi enti no na nka 1 July na ɛbɛfi ase ayɛ adwuma ɛkɔpom sɛ ɛkɔpie court ya na afei wɔ se atwintwɛ so kakre
say 2016 one agreement where manfa anya adwuma kora sa da na mu sabre na mu ni aben na fe 2020 manfa ni nyina anya mu di bi adwuma manfa bi anya adwuma. Have you people been fair to nurses and midwives in Ghana?
Oh, fair dear minia oka enhyɛ da anya nurse fo pɛ adwumayɛfo nyinara na ɛno nso ane yɛ kase yɛ de kyekyere wɔ man ɔman kyekyere no say ya netie senia yeratin kranka ye nurse fo bi aye adwuma over 30 years ni ade atifie eniema bi na ye ma nurse fo no omukro ma nya bi enti eye gradual but eye progressive enti ye koye dim no na ye hwe se ye betenetere niema na eniema emu abai senia be ya aban bia wodi aban bia no ebetimi aye ne de oye ne de a ebresemu no afofo ba no so betoa so a na fe edimu yeratin kranka ye okwa ni PhD on public research na tuaba Ghana ba ni hia ehunu a wokonya wo ho no ene wodi di JRA secretary na wo hwe se bobeboa na wahye anesefo a kanso nkuran na omatumi akomanim na ewo mu se oman no ana no emrama kwan ma yetetete nesuku ahudo bebre ma se ebia aban bia na party bi ba kohye ekuo bi echi no aka se yenhwe no mahoɔden entimra fom de me ameya moyoni no meka se eye disingenuous eye de ye de boman esan se umma labor union na hoɔden kɔfom a na sabe I say bribia puso twi form so na ure fi se u twi form so no a form for the base no say okay, especially when it comes to the issues of nurses and your doctor for what mo ye nipa ho adwuma o o nurse ni ye wo ho adwuma woni ne nko a the training na o ye diama no o de be ye adwuma na so sebe so ohun se aban no wa adwumpone wo ne ho nti ono nso benya adwumpone ewo omanfo ne ho a ene na emse betete ya haban sa na de asa ho yade.
My last question. Why are you health ministry? Wankasa wo a health poster, health hospitals are managing no niama. Near working wachire se Juda so one serve won ya what the one common be kwa another level. Then that is yesuro.
Mini ebe nwa kakra e kire se sabe na hospitals no adani business. Uhwemu a private hospitals prados sing aban de essence aban de no wo no district base no mre kekeka ho ebi ne yen agenda 111 de bani ade a yen wie enti no hospitals no dodo na na private competition private hospitals for energy sense nkofo bebre ebeba mo de ba me kire pressure asase e ba private hospitals so yen mo ye de no bi ni ade a obi a mompa yese uncle to that level because our pressure ne beda wo so a eno so na ebia won so we inefficiencies no ebepie because sabe ebia woni nurse for do ebia woni doctor for do na nipa ne ko aban de na enyi na so oba private no mo nyina ba begu so a sabe sa ho kire na de beba wo so enti e bompa ye aban tie wo mo so frɛ ewa kando no a tie no na tumu se waboto waye me mobo ni passion wo e health no be gidi so aban ti be buano o sa aban etimi so da sen na passion wo no timi e de ye adwuma ye minority ye wo health committee ye monitor gidi se juada ne brada o mind ne beti yanka na enso ye didi ye ho nkomo bebre se yen kan anu ntum ebi ne yen fi anu ntum ebi se yen nya se ne ade ye di ye ho nkomo bebre be ye juada benada no ne ya monitor bi ye di ye ho nkomo ba ye so ye hu ye position esan se sebe e ba health a ye ni nyina na ye di ye politics e ka be ka se aban yi so obetimi aye eno wa beje onyai nenso e ka ye nyina enti no begidi se ye mpanimfo ye tenasia enkoma ebedi bia no efi juada anasa ebenada ye ranking member yewra Dr. Ayuba Friye no ye chairman of the health committee brana yewra Kandon so ye ranking member of the health committee edinsa was wache ti sa ye players in the health industry ye work committee no so no yenim sa semi mu yenim de ekọ yenim de si ye bribi ne de sabre no minority for ne ranking for kan ye na yenso yenim ye ekwe enti enye ye de but ye bompa ye say government will come to terms aban be faithful aban betie na waka say yo we de enye first jandam biara na say fast move biara na be pese me ye be hunu agreement no aban na sign ye
meba Lawyer Jonathan wetie ni akoso nyina nkrofo ni se won serve won ye nti se joda on sanka sa service na wo the strike no be kwa another level wo as a lawyer also won serve won ye den na hu sa adesem no na fei wo hwa hefa ne ngani kire
Wait, me go home.
Yo. Asemuni dika.
You. Esanso ya sefem. Esanse efa nipa ye nkwa ho. Wo hwe Dr. Tinkran ni posture. Na wutie ne kasemu a wutumu se de wo na nti wonum owu. Aha, wonim se na aban no ni suban no ete. Na make a buy and make party a buy, make a buy in continuum. Make the corporate entity of Ghana, the government of Ghana. Not make I no prefer so be fan employer no. You one employer a government of Ghana. You share the political figurehead at a particular point in time there be. Nemo me share the entity called Ghana. Need you as a lawyer no. If you've entered into an agreement, you are bound by the agreement. So what the one such a character say obey A, B, C, D. Na or young so ditum. Now not to sign. Mrane shock it says so this so. Unless wa mumu na masanso ababiom aka say nia ye kan no ye sisem ana ye yibie frim di aka ho. Aha, into no medium the window of negotiation or renegotiation or conversation no me did say wo ho nurses ni aban betuma santenase it's either that anase aban no especially so wo hwe nurses no mo posture it's say aban no it's answer the omo dia ne say aban that's the Ministry of Finance aban sika kra bibia ye kra sika na do sika so no one
approval
when you tum near one man says, or when you tum no more fan you mom and Rakeke no more share no amount approval to the controller. Now control and fight Katan in Yetuma. Me did say a idea finance ministry, they can do it. Not be mischievous, but if it's a matter of approval, a matter of sending a document of approval to the controller and accountant general, the government can do so.
Lawyer Mamisa, I your friend and was one son can courtocrat BI and Labour Commission say wonko yejuma wonga nkwa wonga bu mraso ya nazo wo mu hweso ya
Nidia mo wo hwe Labour Act na mrana says wo cost striker you have to inform the Labour Commission. They've done that. You know one strike no ordinarily at section 162 of the Labour Act say and a share aban say within 3 days they say on your tenancy me tie Dr. Tinkran and kasemu aban any your tenancy within that 3 days we share nurses so essential service because the definition section of the Labour Act says essential service via service anywhere nipa to me share nkwa into no nurses for so many wa indeed tam o ka say Dr. Tinkran ka say Monday umbeyi emergency ward no menya keto aye nurse ni e okolebu into no I know what it means na o ka sa no ebo mi hu kaka e ma wo si go mi kaka isan say obi a ohia nurse hu bambo say nurse at between everyone our interval nurse bi wa everyone interval bia we check patients ni BP or checking the vital say or you stable na say nurse ni hwa I can't imagine what will happen in that world. You will conform who to do man now. Munya yarisa that world. Every morning be an patient. I say we go around. As a nurse, you have to.
The lawyer, Master Minina basis so. So would they be in contempt of the court?
What's they've not been served, and I will share Civil Procedure Act or the I think or the 7 Rule 5. It just says your best survey entity said Ghana Nurses Association. Just say one penning and now one secretary and now one of the executives. They say what do my one. Now what's a 171 year? They can still act without not being in contempt of court. It's in so what say one qua. Mnamuno won't tell me be I need him one painful and won't tell me be I. It's an application was ex parte. Now to be able to for them to be they have to be served for them to comply with the orders of the court. Intinos Minuka say and that's your weekend. Service per the rules, so we don't do service on the weekend, it's weekday. It's unfortunately that's what we are. But me as a lawyer, as somebody who me nipa, your relative can be the ward at any time. Mestre say binding nurses as much as they can. No, they have to meet and find a middle ground. So they are as early as possible. Because I don't want Monday to come. Already now, because I know me who me share video be pregnant woman. You see the first me who will be out to tax oxygen in so near the walk hospital was when you be answer no na as a film pa. It's in your best repair say nurses no ajobre me ni yenim say omun shut down far by na no asemi you peace the mo pani action say finance ministry here the mo pen but ebe ya Monday no so mu to me twentwen no so man pa dia anka you need beso ye pa already na ye bre
lawyer we a lawyer na wo hwe sadi bibia ban hyebo wani so bibia ban hyebo wani so labor commission no court we koje order wa be hye won wonye se no ho niema. What is the way forward then na wo as a lawyer wo hwe se wo ka kire Ghana ban wo ka kire employers any employees any yenga Ghana fo ka jiro bia okwanga dahwa ebeboa yen so okwanga no ma osima kire na fe menko colleague lawyer mintaho
you me jide say do mranum aban wo ho kwan say otu anamon e wo mra kwan so no in terms of injunction because it is a right of a party, so you can exercise that right and seek injunctive reliefs or injunctive orders from the court against your employee. Usually no akwa say sa anamontuo no abantua rather no man huye himum, it doesn't engender that peaceful relation na wosha ebe boama problem no eto etwa intino dide mo amfuto amede ma aban ne say eba especially eba essential services aban ne strategy na say different from non-essential services. Intino anytime essential services dide mo into wo hwe labor act nka it treats essential services different from non-essential services. It's by essential services and the propensity and the tendencies are buying at the back of tabo they are to so no now said they are some kutupa no my age one day me gidi say emwa cause nipa no you can force a donkey to the water but you can't force it to drink need you more.
You I don't know enye kutupa ocean kete kutupa no you like you instigate them.
Yeah,
but ocean kete yemra yenhwe e dey me last one lawyer inti ne awuka nyina samete wase injunction application no emwa sa na awuka
you by essential services so we share you're Dr. Tinka you could sense they've seen this movie a lot of times. Senior a player a buying back expert or more near or back court and fat one to almost no one who da one what da na ye na de one super bibegu one and I somehow person want to know what no and you know na ebe ma what and this asem na bre on nyamom say a buying betu anamon usually, though it is a right of government, and even it is their own right to even say expert application. Expert application, after 10 days, you have to even go back to court to seek or notice the extension of the injunction. Usually, it is a tool in government's toolbox to briefly try and bring or compel Juma Fonde say won't go back to Juma so, but usually what yes I say Emma ban so no ye hin kakra and then so I come here say I say wafa ye kasa na na person kasa so wafa yiti the court be say enye den enchichire ensa sa na sa signal na ye send into usually the main advice is especially on essential services it is usually not the best move to take, but sometimes you can't blame government is I said no hot no it's no prove big kakra ope baby ope mwebi it's need you me say yes Dr. Mr. Akando, sorry, Honorable Akando ope one kasa need you mesre one year they should make themselves available. Said they are obeying Gitahona near homage or ma susu said Joada Ebesino. Need you more yes,
yo, Mamenko, Lawyer Mintao. Lawyer Minta, good morning, sir. Lawyer Minta, good morning, sir. Lawyer,
good morning.
Lawyer, what a menka?
Hello. I'm a tonka. What a menka? Hello.
Lawyer, good morning.
Good morning. What the mega?
Oh, you met on Carlo Minta. Lawyer. Edu over Bono. Between singer mammy. Ye di. Your friend strike you more. Ye di na. Where we are lawyer. Here for no who say, as someone da. No Kwame and Faso. Questions are being paid. Lawyer Minta count me woman and so mentonka on mute I don't know sang train nemra nechi na fe mu na ho ne yentone why ba cha wote menka
hello metonka wote menka
yembra ya be na mum ni aya kan nurse fo nsam yin ho ne ama wo as a lawyer wo hwa asem no edahe no kwan ben na yedi be yi sa asem na fi wo ni tietiem na fi yakoyen second topic so
yo the one say sector minister honorable Kwame Asah Akando were requested for a meeting with leadership of the nurses and midwives of this country, and I think that they should avail themselves of that opportunity. The American and say this is a new government, even though on paper we talk about continuity of administrations. This is a new government, and this government is facing a very peculiar task of trying to fix the country and the economy. Now, it has started on a very good note, and Ghanaians are beginning to benefit. Prices of goods are coming down. And when this happens, it as such as a city no enya holding. And the first now ke 5 cities they bit me at ade ba ho. Esan say ahoden ba muniti no uji ye kretimi to enema mienu. Enti say government fresh mumra na international. I think say it is in the right direction. Because I see the offer du apa no na ye piano. Enti say ban na ba ye nyina nim so mo a omo dem negotiate ye na enye aban we a wo so no. Enti aban we aba na hu say aban no ni ma we na mantuo na otutu no e ya depa e betimi aboa yen. Ho be hia say ye nyina so be de e be boa no. Na baby also ye de ne mato be boa. Kwesi ya no. Se ne ma boa ba fam a nurse ni so e boa obi. O ye midwife a so e boa. Enti sa eboa na eboa ono ni nyina ka ho a eye benefit aye nyina ye ye nya sisi ya ye kase enti first na kwa akatua emu ye din na mboa na se na aban no ana mantu a wo tu no amma you say usika your salary eba no etimi ko nanim kakra eno so ground pra obetimi ahwe no etimi aka say oh okay yenkuni nkohia ye sector minister nia ye hede ono so wo man omu say na omo negotiate omo sign collective bargaining agreement omo sense ni na do the stage of implementation approval na ya implement ena aban foforo aba aban steps na o take no ye nyina hu say enam kwan papa so a Ghana ko obi ani age ebi na petrol da ebi na dollar da ena dollar na nam 17 18 you see enam 9 10 petrol na nam the same thing ko akudu 23 some time mo negotiate this agreement that times were really hard in this country. They can attest to this fact. Time na negotiated this agreement. The times were really hard in this country. Now, no inflation about down. A lot of things are looking right. And you are saving some extra money in your pocket because of the good policies.
What's it? Utie Dr. Tinkranga, or should I say 2016? Mono science agreement in one fine 2020, no money ho. MPP bio. Wong so wong anye ni nyina enunti ene owakan osuro sunsun ne akwei afi de masan afi de aden na mo san afro won for renegotiation ho nema so mo ye fair to them ana
fair there we are fair and I'm explaining say even though you a continuous event or activity you now you fully aware say government assassin even the can say sector minister pe na aba on only deputy into all the people you negotiated with no are bound by the direction of the new government, the policies of the new government. They are not bound by the policies of the previous administration. And the new government in America is taking very good steps. In the meantime, before approving and implementing the collective agreement, there are a lot of windfalls, savings, benefit from the policies of this government. 6 months in your buy and benefits are tremendous all over the place. And once an now you're already saving in your pocket. That itself is a good thing. And the government ask for a meeting. They may be asking for renegotiation. And I think that
next line of action. Was one sang car injunction krata if you court in 171 year. And unti sejoda one sang cabby biaya. Nkoma edi what tamako to baby for Maya Crado, Maya Umbia.
Yeah. See, the service need me say idea more secure on just they will find a way to serve it. Now, so when the partners of the other measures that can be put in place. All that we are asking, nobody is saying that the nurses and midwives are wrong. Nobody is saying that. I don't think there's anyone in government that all cancer. And we understand where they are coming from. Yes, you are working on but there is a new government. At this point, so, and in the sense, say, already, yes, it's a agrobeswa if you are not back. We had the early days of the government. Any of the steps now we'll take now. I don't think this is the right time to cancel for striking. It's on one hand, whilst we will not blame them for taking this action, we also think it's a little unfair to a baby government, which is barely 6 months. In TSANA, it's a little harsh because government in sector yet. A lot of appointments are still being done, and even over the appointments are back now. Still, there's a chunk left. The government has not even settled yet, and we all know this is a new government. It's a striking at this stage now. It's like say, Nippon person now Koko in Nasia, strong. And to your best, nobody saying they are wrong, but your best say, they should engage the government, they should engage the sector minister. Near finding a solution and a way out. I think it's a bad boy because at this stage, make us admit me, will be a bit me, Robert Cotnas and Ness or bad boy, you hold more. Over to me. There are better days ahead that is coming under this administration. Everything points to this fact. And as a better days, this is Bonqua, and a Ghana Bonqua,
hungry man, na neokom pa neome wongadi nyina ne wo kan ne se abang de daw de ne sa hye krata ase eye mo masede se ma ben mo de yadwuma nti mo de mo ma financial approval no keke mo mawi a wonim se muntumi nyina nkran ntutu nkran na wonim betumi adwen ho atena se ahwe se na mba implement so sa request aden na edin mam
say make ham economy no has been stressed for a very long time, virtually at the point of a complete break. Say economy probably break. MPP for more government, they knew this. What they are saying, and JBM said general Ebekan said about 33 individuals have been prepared for court. These are all offenses causing financial loss to the state, any corruption related offenses. Me catch you say, sir, the party 3 cambo mua, sikadodoa, I lost to the state, and sika ketwo. Says can even a more court a bit me to ya, and as if we the credit that the prime minister. You know,
I'm the lawyer Hamano.
Government is just making the effort at this
second topic so OSP legal football match Yangura Ufurata special prosecutor no once one and lawyers watch roba watch rob call and honiama na mamin komono memfemfia say minim say lawyer sompa or hamano so ana lawyer sompa wo ana oni wodia
ini abenye mpacha mewa ha
lawyer sompa mami misao Ufurata OSP back and forth legal football match as they say wonga declare what ama Interpol na honiama lawyer nia yehu nyina no den na koso na so yenga dubra ete se wode ma Interpol na ansa na memo abemu no mamena Dr. Tinkuranga se obejina ho no be kire niamam o ama education perfefe yesre yenga ye ganafo yesre se yenimu se wore kan won asem mpaningritie na mom won hwe na wonye bibi mfa ho na womu ya ganafo na aben nso womu ya na nkomopa bi atize wodi no wonni na won adwuma no wontumi nkoye na mu omengi eno ne nga desrede a Dr. Tonkuran yede tu anim sa fa tuku nanim yew na yada wase yew lawyer
yes madas
sompa OSP in legal football match say ni dinga ko Interpol ho na so baby engedu is that where we should be?
Okay, then starting common if you say, I think the OTA OSP justification on my I see our starting common era of Oriata lawyers and making indications Okoyene surgery no sometime in March. And no man no go see 2nd of June. And for purposes of June no I car 2 days per and sana ultra brand is a beyond me na me koto OSP no se bio yemfa yare nya nti ya de se nka onya dance die na yero for yata ne lawyer for any ni di nkomo ema ni si ya enya dia nke be fasa akwa so me start here because I think that there are two essential parts. The kind sebi obligation on obia investigative body be able to no. There's an obligation on your part, and then OSP also has an obligation on his part. Sebi, my main starting for OSP because Sebi on not to me one in China. So to me one chance I will show be more na udi obi kojina court for anything you have evidence why emrano de dikaya emrane kan se bi ni pakro endi for enkosi se ebe one for, so you are innocent until proven guilty, and that's very essential. Inti Sebi Ero Foriata is not convicted of any crime. He is only a person of interest in certain subject matters. Inti se uyo bia yamao abain to me session be moon for no court, you are an investigative body. The first more important point to be made is you treat people with the dignity and courtesies as though they are innocent until proven guilty, and that is important. The autonomy, which is obligation on the person's part, is also to cooperate with that investigative body in good faith. Of course, Mrama Onko say you even reserve the right not to incriminate yourself into all through the proceedings. And then depending on what the investigative body has, they may charge you with a crime or otherwise. Inti once you put the two sides, the OSP is bound by law to treat the person with dignity as though they are innocent. The second part is that the Ero Foriata is enjoined in good faith to aid the process and even make a choice not to make a comment. Now, from where it's escalated to, I think the OSP, Adrian Muno, Ero Foriata is evading arrest or is evading the process, at least in its own terms. And he's only using the cloak of health as an excuse. Inti answer na bedro and it's obvious say OSP engine D says and I think that's a fact, and the OSP is made clear. Says be on far evidence and now on far krata bia mention except the letter that was written on 28th of May. Say OSP no one who kwan say on gin there or who kwan say obefa kwan bia so to procure an arrest if he's made a determination that there's a specific charge said your day ball where do I quarter or who kwan so far kwan or emraman who kwan bia in order, including the Interpol red notice to bring you to stand trial and to stand justice. But it's important that I re-emphasize the point. I said he's not been found guilty of anything. Say if the determinations are that or still to me, but I think say it's important say he's charged specifically if there is evidence for it. And then he's brought to stand the trial through the Interpol process. But Sebi, say Interpol crowd in the bar. Are we now saying Safi Nedikwa do Bebono? And I said we'll take his caution statements and whatever statement from him, if even he makes an indication not to say anything. Inti make a manakosino. Two things I want to emphasize. Say Sebi, OSP wo ho kwan say or including the Interpol route, if they are convinced and they have evidence, say why BBA tia or minor na ye also from ma ubejina now ube you they have the right to bring you to answer the questions, and in this case they've exercised those rights and in those Interpol proceedings. Having done that, I keep emphasizing, the person is innocent until proven guilty because yempese ebeko akoye sebi yedemra tiaman for far so, and I think that we all need to respect that basic principle of criminal law because here for the sanctity of no sebi yedekwa do abon no nche se wodifo. But the do ball so there also ubejina Tierra Foriata should make himself available. It's his own name that is on the line. So Sebi he should make himself available to answer those questions. and then let the evidence ultimately speak to what the facts are. Into those are my initial comments. One, OSP Wohu Kwai say he escalates to bring the person to stand justice, including using the Interpol route. The second point, however, I want to emphasize is Sebi Yembo Yero Foriata is not guilty of anything. He's only at best been charged, or even now he hasn't been charged with anything. He's only a person of interest in certain matters. And so in as much as yeah, one whole point say yeah, befa kwan bia so
Oforata ono nso nkomo ye kwaso nyenga che se oyare nti oyare no obeden no beba na se wama okwan ben foforo ben na wo ho ma OSP a obetumi anya no na nkomo ete se wodi no ngadi.
Okay, so I've heard the conversations around Sebio time my Airbus investigation, OSP, Afro plane, and the co-interview Ira Mahamania. So OSP should make similar provisions towards using those opportunities to go and interview them. I think that those are discretions available to OSP, but the essential point I was saying in ITS and say OSP makes those determinations based on the facts available to him. We don't know the facts. Sabi, mina nyama mienu sabi yakotre sohwe. Now hunu say ebia unsu ade yi. Mubetimi aka say oyare no aka teacher say teacher me yare nti mpacho sohwe we de minya anka metre me de na otwe eba yi. Na unkwa de wanya na otwe mienu ana na otwe ababa ho ansa no atwere sohwe no. And now say you also have the option to say teacher mayare teacher bit me aka so o when you train defer paper no and now say paper no obetwere wo de afifda nti ebema o IC now I repeat afida so but those are discretions available to the teacher. Those are discretions available to the teacher. Demand as of right, because any matters of right, particularly where the law gives the person the right to bring you towards justice. It's important if Yero Foriata is indeed not well, I think the onus is on him to employ on the OSP and show him evidence to convince him to believe, because it's escalated because the OSP does not believe. And I think that the responsibility is any answer him for to na me no. Men na one may say I was me de evidence ne krata ne manu disem etu teacher ne ni ma teacher ni GD se bi me home for me. Na why exercise discretion na ka say oh betre so he no in 2 weeks and answer waka say say ni aye there memo defer na next year wa for tribia oni wa atwere. Into the discretion is available to the OSP, and I think that the onus is on Yero Foriata and his lawyers to implore on them with the relevant evidence for OSP to believe that because it's only escalated to this point because the fact that an OSP said it that on Jindi, because Untimin letter 2 days after they've given you about 6 weeks out, only to write a letter to make an indication say on home file. And after now surgery when you had earlier said surgery now around March. So I think that OSP just does not believe it. And the responsibility of proof of infirmity, no, in my view, would lie with Yero Foriata to convince the OSP say I'm part no home for no. And then in that sense, OSP in the principles of dignity to the person and respecting the person's right and said you send your no kind no fire in those spirits no, I think that the courtesies will be afforded him as any other person who is innocent until proven guilty.
My memory studio na memory lawyer sorry.
At this point now, I would wish you and your all the persons well.
And now you be to me edu baby a say you do no. Then yenye.
will be on the back of my observation of proceedings in Republic versus Professor Meya Okonfi, where na us records and money bail. The KP said, "You're a Professor Meya Okonfi, the lawyer. That's me near Bema due. Aaron Sasu. But your court said, you're a Professor Meya Okonfi no put to no crack. Our court, he was in a wheelchair, and you could see discomfort in his body and on his face. I said, no, that I wanted to home papa, sir. And son said, oh, yes, said you when this is, you know, na the lawyer court said, court, money bail, man, the bill, no, or you be a, or shall, on jumpy bill, so on money bail. Or you be so or be backwards. Na judge no ne kase mu no tama yera Professor Meya Okonfi lawyer no or court say nyarewa na nyoma ha na pomudin no or dan di a court no court tell me say me kire wo say wo client ne tibia ne documents bia kire no ho down fa yie no file na fa bracket na embeto minim na no na betuma apoa na decision na gina bia se mi gina no betumi gina na je ekoso ka che ne say o client ana yewra Professor Meya Okonfi ne na pomuden ho nsem a odi tudwa no ensem pata na nye me ka kosi say yewra union for that's the special prosecutor. Then Kasemu Tamoye in the conference, in the press conference. No, did he say you rock? You know, for after na pomu do hun sama or the two jam. Tia yera Kenoforata the rights of privacy to his medical records and information. Nidi moi. Me did he say a hono yera Kiseja Ben me did say honum no next time no he wouldn't repeat that again. It is not fair to his medical records and the privacy of his medical information. Ushemu ani de mu a yera Kenoforata wache nyentia onto be magana. Say owo medical procedure at this particular point in time. Now in criminal jurisprudence no the evasiveness of an accused person just say obi a ye pewo so what person wo do ho ba ana so person wo be ma ye kwan na no akasa de usually no e kire say wo person wo be boaye na yetumi aye yedwuma yie. That is the prosecution bit. Na wo hwa yera for attack nin kasemu na yera Kise Japan or Casano say you're for attack and say obetumi I available via Zoom. Anyone edin kita ho. For me no I try me say at least you're for attack o man ho kwan say kita ho de bia wo ho a you're special prosecutor person ni nisa and mosa nkomo na o man ho kwan. Na mom you're special prosecutor che say no peno yagani imenua awuzani beka yagani bram na with some I think said the effect of Zoom and the channel through Zoom of communication no I think is a channel communication and kita ho ana kita ho de betuma akoso it no se ne se kita ho kwa de a me gidi se Zoom betuma baso enne ye ne Dr. Tinkran amenyi ni se organa akasa yene yewra ene abedwafo a kasafo a ende omo program yo ma be kasa no ebi mo ho a wo need studio say na me ne doc wo studio wo outside Accra na wo ne edin kita ho nti ne miji say e bank kita ho de a obetumi ne edin kita ho na mind you emra no nhye yewra Kenoforata say onka bibia nkyere special prosecutor emra na mom no ehye special prosecutor say ono no nya ni hwehwemu no no fa na evidence e medan court en kire court say ye na yewra Kenoforata aya etiamra Into no court no fan tre na bem abankukum kakra. Into no era Kenofarata he has no compulsion. And I'm not being sure say or special prosecutor e won adwuma diem. Says
Prime Minister lawyer, who can say enti opa kire say it is say yewura kisi ajabe obo ofurata charge. Na obo ne charge ansa na fi ofurata betuma bam abeye ne eteso ye. Sa na wo kanin.
Nyampa che ne say eba ni investigation a.
Yo.
Obetumi aye. Aha, obetumi ne na ye wo zoom no a wo kan. Nti ohwe na ento asum na of say still na enu atiri no e say oba Ghana ana say enu atiri no e say obo ne charge nti prosecution nti e say oba Ghana aha enu mom na for the yehu say nkomo no edu ha say na implemplan ye kase ya o say oye nhwehwemu on case wa obo ne charge no the charge bi ama no there be oye nhwehwemu na mom mpo so obo ne charge the Criminal Prosecution Procedure Act Act 19 Act 30 passed in 1960. A just say somebody can be tried in absentia. It is in the interest of Kenofarata say you born a charger or no beba ababe yin wano. Na say you more charge na investigation keka. Binyini say chinchina chi ese obagana. Na mum say you born a charge. Na say you the charge sheet akọ down court. Na court asam so a. And when you say the presence, as I say, Eba, he has to be, he will be compelled to come and face those charges. Now, in plain, there are no charges, but rather you as a public officer who tries to obey your investigation. Now, only in pano, din kita hodie. She shano me man dream no. She shani pi say, especially also or koye surgeon. She shani say obagana. Aha, nidi mwa. It's yes, Oshe, the Airbus case. I mean, no, I go for be a site, and I think say, at time assembly see can me can't say me wo fidiso. If fidiso say, you are special prosecutor or two kwan ne President Mahama ninia eko kasai, ene another person of interest ekasai. To two wano na ana odibesi jina ye jina bia say omo nye hwe ana omo djumedie no boni bi enim. In that same breath, but parity of reason, you know, and as example no set whatever matter no or bet me you afa no swad edena kasa so opa ono betu anama wakoho na kasa and I think say one man who available so or crown why already say on special prosecutor be kasa o zoom no me gidi say so o tu anama ko US wa you are Kenofarata or be sure so he's willing say on the back sawo honom no esan so no feel say Ghana it is on his best interest so far as ne health is concerned need you more
engineer what can say my question A1 under 1 minute never make ura kwa ho opa kire say Mr. Kisiaja Bing so declare no or the man interpol no de ujiri say no de anka it is all twentwen so kakra sa na wo kanin
you my dream no anka so twentwen so kakra. Additionally, so it's high time it's a obon kwedu na ordinary court na you are Kenofarata hono you say after these are the charges against me into me be ho ano but in plain the need him I think say he's more or less on a fraud because me who be that eba ya mame Cecilia Dapa asem no special prosecutor ditch name at the end of the day, no who said no, baby, I do it. Mean to me, yeah, I'm a sika or de Nesatu Sulinano or Danina Sandema, your mammy, Cecilia Dapa. It's no medium one. I think that this is not the best strategy to use, especially man a charge behind medium one.
No, lawyer, so remember, Menko Mr. Aqua, opening Uro Forata. It is say okwan a special prosecutor onam so sa kwan na so fa so na yensa kon ofurata na obeyin samanu na ana se wo bibi foforo abaka kire bajo wo so hello
hello.
Okay, my main call lawyer Sumpaho. Yo, Honorable, Mr. Akwa, also.
I'm also.
Also, I'm a mentor.
Opening me also.
Mr. Akwa, what a manka?
Beton Kappa.
Near Koso or Uro Forata and Ura Kisia Jabeng Temui. A baby do baby. Na wadwene kyerɛ wo den sɛ ɔkwan bɛn paa ne ɛfa so ya yebenya nia ɔmanga na hwehwɛ na mmara ne hwehwɛ ɔkwan bɛn
Bacho ansa na meko eno so no mame sima na menka asem ba ko wo nurse for na asem no ho de me pese me ka wo nurse for na asem no ho se eye na nka enye se omonkrofo de bidi omko courts ena ya ban no eye ma ne ye adwuma enka aban yi ba yi enka ontimi ensesa bibia wum obetoa so aye ne sa pepepe se ne ya gi atomo no enti owura no be kasa ye no a ofie ndisi no be pe amane hu se enye se eye boapayo se enye omoa no internal politics e wo union fo ni mu ena ema ne chin twintwen so a enka ye gitu mu ye ho adwuma edi ye adwuma no enka aban ne ba ye ontimi embesesa no obeto aso aye ndi aban ne hwe no nkasa asem binia owura kisi ajaben ene ofori atasem mene yewra kwabere jeje pon ne article bi otro ye eya adwene ebisa se de dikai yewra kisi ajaben oye prosecutor of a special person de tosu mienu me masem bisa ne se the serial special prosecutor's office was established yet sa office no se ne be ya ebe cure the inefficiencies in Attorney General, any Minister for Justice, the 2 million na who they and the upper power work say obeti media investigating political exposed persons or more corrupt suspicions money ade. Enti sabe yewra kisi jabe abra ye wa bemu na otumi se enyema wo bobo bodin ewo yero furiata ho no enka e wa ba mu no na otumi se obetimi etu saa anamo no de toso miensa ene onfa charge bia emo yero furiata nemom osi ohia no e manaba be boa ewo nsembisai mu anasasa nsem emo aso de sabe obi pa ena ode mawo sabe wo mu se wo ye investigative authority enti no wo hia wo a o hye kwan so betimi atwe naba na oba nso a emraba ne ho kwan se opa obekana no atum akopum se wo de ne be court enti masem bisa ne se enyema wususuo se yewra ofurata betimi aboa wo ho nyina se waye ho hwehwemu aba na sipia eni enka fa kokote na court mum ento nsam frɛ no na se onya akwan ma ya na lawyer for kwa betime si na na mupo e wo court na fe o ma gibre ama date no mane ade na we no akoye press conference upon press conference ya to nsa frɛ no yesi oyare obeba da sei watu da na sheda ene de keka e basa no a media ohaba kwa me won se yewra kisi jaben senia ni mudro tie ewo mrasemu aye gi ni tu mu se special prosecutor's officer obetimi aye amana ye dwuma etiapo no man betimi de ne ho atoso se no no a kai say the conscience of the nation, the conscience of Ghana no na emma emudro no akofom
wo ho na fi yan akọ bibi foforo so na wo hwɛ ne akwai wuje di se ne kwan se senia woye ma airbus no wo fo kwan wo fa so wo airbus case no etese sa na owura jaben fa so na okona okohu ofurata na nkomo bia wo wodi wuje di se so kwan na so fa so ana se onko so emprese interpol de ne baba
Sebi ira ejabe nankasa edu brebia wo hwe se o se enkofo bi taatal wadi dwuma ye mu no edwuma no ma ho kwan ma no kotra ma no ne kakra anye ahomgie mu not ya ma no ne a o ye adwuma enti no eno ye de dikan na de toso mienu eye airbus de no a okoye ekofa ahumwaye ede baaye wei sebi senye digital technology no be yusu aye virtual na wetimi ne yerofrata akasa na se ewoso ko hono na asem no ohia se ofrata obisa ne nsem bi no boa no a bigiri se kwanda ho betime tu sana mo
ebe yeden ebe ha obribi ana se ha obribi a so ba
bajo o se ofrata ba ebe ha obibi
ha wana se bibi be koche wana se anase den
ese se de utia na pomudin semunti na ontimi ma na pomudin semunti no ontimi ma apomudin so de sania yewrajabe na kasa ya de wo yemfanya enti no obi nso nim da ne ho beto no enti ene ya otiase na obetimi ebia perpetually no betimi
medase say yembra ye bre na yenko yen abobo sa ne so na ye bako ayi wo friend den yente topic so briefly nti lawyer Esare one last comment awo 1 minute e for that asem hu say den ne enye na hotomra na justice nye adwuma uforata nso right respected na ayi wo friend den emra nso nye adwuma
special prosecutor kwenya yewra oforiata adiama no o say onene be dingeta ho no on you should make use of it yewra kiseja benin kasemu tama ne press conference no utumi hu say it is now a matter of ego and a matter of who should subject himself or who should provide convenient means of meeting another. Into na utumu say yewra ken ofrata excuse or the man say no ho fa no na say onya ne ayarehwe no. You say na a special prosecutor eyenehi esanse or say they will not allow Kenofurata, who is the accused, to dictate the terms of conversation to the special prosecutor. It's with respect, it should not be an emotional exercise. It is an exercise the opani say upese unko asem no no ne upese dore and don ko asem no. It says how na wo hye nko ade a say akonya na ba say wonu npa ko ne be kasa. Use that opportunity. Use that opportunity.
Okay. Lawyer. Sum na menko lawyer some power 1 minute. Lawyer some power. What you so? Lawyer some power. Yeah. Say ebia oko. So oko dia lawyer some power. E be fa free so adawase. Say when ya bre no one ya bekasa. Ye ko yen third topics. Bre third topic so na bre aye bre kakra. Mumfa nche yen. Yerehwe galamsey latest on galamsey a test of Ghana's defense capability na mesre se menko hamana so na nedika me de chawpa bema madam va se yengeji na tena hamana so ache oniga na owamanone enunti wasare ne na auditie yen madam fachen na galamsey okunya ye queen uje di se bribi papa bi beba fumana yengate ne course ewo madam bisu oko Asante region ho ba bi ne kopue wo ho uje di se okwen abani obetima kwan na madam va
yo me chiachiam but it's okay na yes ye da kakra galam said ye na meda madam bisu ase eno me tie no ehwe ne course no ama me hu say when it comes to natural environment no man na konsa akon because who send your Gina one who chino send your can as some no say yam ma nkrofo mfiri omukrom emesai na ye wia wo say wie na ye chi wo mo na ya katakata wo so na ya ye wo bye bye. I mean, what Johnny said ye who cry yen mo bin mo ye ti no first time na mo ye yes I know ye justify no na ha dwen kakra. And here me say waka jack to mu sania ye nuano mo aka say ye Chinese no de ye nja wo mo na ye mfa mo show mo ambassador nsana on deport wo mo no that's emwa ye hwe sania mo start years adie it hasn't put in a dent because no moba no moba ya na yakwashe ye run mu na chese ni omo pen no mo ye under the with the full support of younger say Ghana for no because what shall near cost na I say ye na koye nimba na ya san koye chi 5 yenya ndu ye and right now me share in what me area ho ones my whole picture say the bano I just in na toy kakra no mobo ya ye mobo enti no ekono de ye bi na ye musa ye ho se sania ye kono no de ye he because on say ye bi sometimes you can do things to represent things but ye musa ye ho se what does success look like? Say yes, your former river guards, ya chichi we no bimo. Yeah, to me. But are we really hitting the problem where it is supposed to be hit? Sisi anonia mi hunu say be a game of musical chairs. A new chef aba. Enti no adada fo na ewo mu no ye nim ba bia omo wo enti yenye ye bibi enyi omo mfiri wo na nkrofo foforo mesi anam it's not going to help us ukọ baby ti say jura ni other places are it's a known thing say the old guard is giving way to the new ones. Yes, you are say ukọ western ukọ ayelam blesses ya yes ma ye ni nam wo nsuo ebi ene emanzule subre another in see once they tell you that area ho na chese ye tua wo aduane because de near ye nimu ano no epono sisi ano we don't get anything from it because of ne ekwoso nyina wo ho no oil ne ade enti no fishermen o munya hwe enti nsuo no mu ena nsuo no sisi ana enam no wuchi ya na epro uchi nam no free nsuo no mu ana the sauce engane ewo mo ho enkyere say enioma na yaye nsuo all of them no it's coming home and it's hitting hard on the people and it was a genuineness at the fighters way. The question is senia uko tu omo free hand achina obeko no omo asamba biye say no omo abano. It means that we need a more strategic way of fighting this and I yachi omo nso a ema ye nye omo ye di ama police no most of them no they are in bed with them. And this idea of changing the police no is very good but yemusa say ne course wo Dr. Bisi weko hu ye is that police a new one and I say that no bia change na kan no na sanka no na say kan no na all boss abreya Ministry of Interior any omwakeka ni nyina no we need a better vision of getting to this problem because guns pa and I dey block omo. No, it's getting dangerous, and so we need to if we want to really get to the bottom of this, and we have to because it is going to hurt our people very very badly. Then and I was saying,
do you think government or you fairly what the fight against Galamsey now?
I mean, one more near Mekan, one more year BB to represent BB, and so no on the ground, and them say it's not working because a baby was see no galam say yes no as who are supported by very very well connected people no they are armed and imagine a whole obi or clout or the police fuku no so imagine the local people regular people what such communities no they've become they have no power. They have no locus in their own communities, watching their communities taken over by foreigners, supported by some of their own local people, and destroyed. And they cannot do anything about it. And we pride ourselves in being a peaceful country. That thing is getting out of hand. And dealing with this problem no properly. President Mahama but we don't think so or no wholeheartedly and with a view to really solve the problem. Me akasa me MP I follow him a lot.
Where you sit and what experience and in the industry no. Mami two suggestions I will throw say that's the best way you be to media council queen.
Ya can say asam no senior cosino no we have to can say they should declare state of emergency in places where sa queen abeye guns near the no. There are certain places I mean when the issue happened in Boko there was a curfew, and so if we have people in some of these communities with guns threatening the people and plundering the forest, what prevents the president from doing that? And then number two, fight, a man yes, BB to represent BB. Say I'm fighting genuinely and making sure, say, not only are we going after the want to means of code, but we are also going after current government people, NDC chairman and NDC people who think that this is their time to step in and reap now. Then we are tickling ourselves because a lot of their chairmen know this is how they made their money to support the government, and so now it's like no holds barred. But President Mahama, I respect him a lot. I have so much confidence in his ability to restore our country. Now, Galamsey Asamno, the fight has to be genuinely done. It doesn't have to be selective. You know, a few years ago, it was highly, it was detestable. And so Ghanaians spoke, and they spoke so loudly. And Mr. President, and fire, because our livelihoods are at stake. Some communities here say my now that aside, we are being poisoned, and we can't continue like that. These what do you call it? Articulators and start continue to come in. I'm glad to see that they are taking some measures there. But Niaba inside no crano. Niayachichino already no. What have we done about them? And I mean Mrs. say, some depository obia me call website na. Meet me who say asumasi what do you call it? Excavators ABCD no no. Asumasi na owner of them no. Or sponsors are the way. And then what exactly is being done regarding them? Or more chichi, ya chichi bigu jura in Zuma East. Sisi ayatino, ya sita no mako it's going on the ground, no. It's going on like nobody's business. And we can't pretend to be fighting. We have to fight a genuine fight. Take the fight to your own people and declare state of emergency. There's no reason why we should We should be no holds barred when our country's ecology is at stake.
The state of emergency, then the bear was asking him. Then the bear.
Oh, ebeboa, because who declare state of emergency? You are sending down your security to make sure that the laws are obeyed in that area. Where there is galamsey and it's become lawless, nobody obeys the law. Nobody obeys the law, and so law-abiding people they are hiding in their own communities. They cannot even speak up. Now, share forest reserve. Afra, who was say he there saying what? And we're gonna look on like that. Tete yakopa more abano. You better na yes jai wa more na say yes some backroom arrangement to be. And then it doesn't deter anybody. We can have the press there and show all sorts of things, pretend to be doing things. Not on the ground, the not possible. We have to be serious. I think the state of emergency will make sure that the laws of the land are enforced where they are currently being what do you call it, trampled upon in broad daylight.
The use of excessive power by the state on the matter. In the for the brasso say abang deploy soldiers now walk on boot for boot ana.
In those areas requires no, yes. In areas near ya already know no. We can let that, we can continue. If it's not broken, broken, don't fix it. Also, then maybe man in Koso. But there are places where the thing is now an armed conflict. Yeah, me say bagalam say yeah, if a town is fighting another town and Kayebe declare a state of emergency, yeah. Galamsey is war. Galamsey is war. They are killing us. And yes, places the people have armed themselves, terrorizing the local people. We have to do that.
In the fight against Galamsey.
No, it's too early to say that he has failed. I have confidence in him. I have followed some of the things that they have put in place. It's not as bad as it was. It's not as bad as it was, but so one share ye na senia ye party people no ye no they would fail so many of us. We trusted them so much. We still do, but it's getting a bit uncomfortable because almost I have LI 2462 no yes ya can say yen repealing almost say omodeba chadodo. And that state of emergency no ya can everybody we've been saying it. Not because ye per se or more no, but places where it deserves, and I'm sure they know. They know those places where Omo once, twice, and then the moment they leave, the people go back there. No, those places require the full strength of the state to show, say, we haven't become a lawless country. In me say me were community like the Bienna. I don't think I will survive there because to watch your beloved streams, rivers destroyed, mostly led by foreigners, supported by some Ghanaians who think everything is just cash, you know. And then ukasakra ye di tue besi wani. Hey, na so what me de usadi a certain government official. Na ordinary kuya de ebente. So people are suffering in those communities, and they need their state of Ghana to stand up for them.
Meda was na mako Miura ai akwa ho. Mr. Akwa, wo ho a mamento nka iyo. Galamsey ni yenga dusi na so enida subi wo ho magana fo ana. Wo hwe ne ekoya na. Wo hwe ne ekoya so enida subi wo ho. Honorable, what man can? What man can?
Galamsas.
So Galamsey Yere Queen. So
Betonka
near Kosi. Ubit Marcus and it has to be Homayan Ghana for Anna. We obey ni kakrame etwitwa kasa ni twitwa mbacha koso na ehwe say aye ya
as far as na oma abra ne ewo no bele beto nka pa temenka
be na mete nti me question no mbacha yi anu mame eni da so bi wo ho ana wo hwe okwan agui eni da so bi wo ho
me se me hu ni da so bi ewom e kire say nyama aban yi ka ye bra na owo fe ne say opposition no obedu aban mu no wasesa na no state of emergency ya ma mi ka ho asari na aban ni mpanifo edi mutintiman a na omo hye ya aban say yen declare state of emergency ede ye de sa aban ba be ma edienti na wo de wunese what is our cast I said near party for no ne chairman for no and the chire pa enne se galamse no etu atese a eye because encrophobia wo munsuo hwe na yom so maban na aba no na eye na nka minister betimi abetina TV so ati ni show minister ni show oti it was so genuine because our papa tama owo opposition no na oka ho asem nti owo papa se nko betimi ye ho bibi but ono ani party for nti obeye den etu za na mo no wo so de to so miensa nipa na wo ye wa ban mu no ma no dem kase ya ban no ayema galamse no etu etese no ene omunyina wa hen. I'm not talking about individuals me kan ekuekuo wo mo ka asemu a woni hwe yese oso wutie nipa ema ya ban no ho hyehye no nipa ema ye mampani kwadanda esa sabre no obie nim se sika de obia edi ekire a wode etuo ene bambo ho nsam na ode ye itina edin de but ye yire ho ye de beye la ya ye ka ho asemi ye tu ho na mo ede ko parliament sabre no na parliament ba beba na wiye ya nya ho hwe iti wo ka se ye nhwe ne yin Israel ni mfi hoi ene ede na o ma ye wo ho enti kopum se sabi ye nuanom na obo opposition ene o ma ba ban mu nti no eyom se galamse no so ma bedidi mu no kopum so menye bi na omo ho ato omo so omo so ba bedidi na o manya bie no menye ni se benye ni daso bia ena aban opepa so ode bekon no aje say be eba be elections it between now to time be elections in the next 3 years no and to say ye ya ban mu no ye di interventions bebre ba ye right from when president ka say ode na
tuwo amagalamse fa yebeda wase namenko lawyer minta yo yengadu ayi wo friend den galamse ho nsem yi na okun so waban ye obetuma kon wo se gorube so a efi anopa ne ye hu yenye GDB wo mumu ana
GDB de o se yetiminya ebise medical kasa ye no bibia kire se aban we de waba magana fo na bibia no obeya ntoboase na afi so ade ase no se usiesie a wanya ntoboase a obetimi asanse no kra manabroso na they say no on say yeah suspended all the licenses that were issued enti I'm not on the grounds enti say ade a ebinum eguso eye galamse dia and I cannot confirm that or not because I'm not on the grounds. But what I know is that for a start, Abana or my home so minor or say or suspended all the licenses, which means you have to reapply and then you be considered on the fresh note. And if there's anybody on the grounds, all your mine is here now, I would assume say Nipano AS are illegally. And of course, if that is the case, I know say there are some task force at the regional level. DS is to ensure say they will flash out all measures are being put in place. You talk about mining in forest areas in what they have done. Efforts are being made to repeal those laws and put the mining industry and the operations in proper order. So definitely, this government is going to do things different, and we are going to see changes as time goes along. The sector minister is very serious about ensuring that our mining is properly done. Also, mining itself is also an industry. It's a sector. So you only need to regulate it so that things are done properly. Nobody is saying we should stop mining and not do any mining at all. In fact,
Dr. Bisiu call baby Asante region. Nkrofo kra ya to ahye no so ne ho niam galamse niam na ekoso yara wuje di se utie madam va ye ne kasa britie mu nimpanimfo a obi as a state of emergency wo wadwene mu no as a lawyer wuje di se state of emergency ye hia ne ye de akoso okun ana.
I am not in a position to say who be here na say who here on say me no as I sit here no I don't have facts on my table, a bit me, I'm a say a state of emergency is needed that I don't have. But what is important is that so over here, even the CEO of Good Board, he spoke recently. Like I said, the small scale mining sector now. So by taking the major mining sector in terms of our gold, our export earnings from our gold exports, and so it has a lot of potential. What I'm saying is that it just needs to be regulated so that it is done properly. And in fact, our environmental laws will hold no more. If now only say the mining licensing regime.
Say, yabada say hana yembre ebe man ho kwan. Yabeda obi ase wo ngachinchim fie da obi ase. Yere kire say program yi wo pese 02078544404 02078544404 wofra yebeje oso na waye wo advert bia ehu hia yeda mu amutie yen mo hwe yen edamase lawyer Minta lawyer Jonathan Esare lawyer Sompa eni mpanimfo meka hina ne majam Dr. Tenkuran ne munyina mo boaye yedamase madam va wo se wo bere wo Canada wo boaye yedobia ase mu amutie yedamase mpanimfo a wonso wo bo adwumadi wa ha wo chinchim mfiri ma bibia akoso aseda yemode dasene onyame ma enkwa yebeba ne abetua nkomo no so edamaso